Let me tell you about something I did last year that I'm not proud of. I went 47 days without checking my bank account. Not because I was too busy, not because I forgot, because I was terrified. Every morning I'd open my phone, see the banking app, my thumb would hover over it when I'd swipe away every single time. And here's the part that really got me. I wasn't scared of what I'd find. I was scared of how it would make me feel. Shame, panic, that knot in your stomach you get when you realize you've been avoiding something important for way too long. And then one day I finally opened it, and it wasn't even that bad. That's when I realized the fear wasn't about my money. The fear was about what my money said about me. So let me ask you, when was the last time you checked your bank account? I mean, really checked it without feeling that little spike of anxiety? If your answer is, I don't remember, or I check but I don't look, you're going to want to watch this. Because today, we're talking about why you're scared to check your bank account. And it's probably not about the money. There's actually a term for this in psychology. It's called financial avoidance. Financial avoidance is the act of deliberately ignoring your financial situation, even when you know you shouldn't. It's not laziness. It's not stupidity. It's a psychological defense mechanism. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do, protect you from pain. Think about it. When you check your bank account and see a number you don't like, your brain registers it in almost the same way it registers a physical threat, like someone shouting at you or the feeling of a near miss on the highway. A study from 2021 found that nearly 50% of people in the United States describe feeling anxious about checking their bank accounts. Not broke people, not people in debt, just people. And here's the problem with financial avoidance. When you stop checking your money, you don't actually avoid the consequences. You just delay them, and usually make them worse. You start losing track of subscriptions you forgot to cancel. You stop noticing when you're overspending. You wake up one day, check your balance, and realize you've been living in a fantasy world for the past 3 months. So if financial avoidance makes everything worse, why do we do it? That's what I want to explore today. And I promise you, the answer isn't what you think. It's not about the money, it's about something way deeper. Here's the first reason we avoid looking at our money. We've convinced ourselves that our net worth is the same thing as our self-worth. Think about it. When you were growing up, you probably learned one of two things. Either you heard your parents argue about money, and it felt heavy, scary, like a sign that something was deeply wrong, or you never heard them talk about money at all, and you assumed it was something shameful, something good people don't discuss. And now, as an adult, your bank balance feels like a report card. A low number feels like you're failing at life. You're not responsible. You're a bad adult. And who wants to look at that? Of course you avoid it. The only problem? Your bank balance isn't a report card. It's just a number. And until you separate how much money you have from what kind of person you are, you will never feel at peace with your finances, no matter how much you have. Here's the second reason we avoid checking our bank accounts. When you don't know exactly how much you have, you can pretend you have enough. It's a weird psychological trick that's been studied a lot. It's called ignorance as control. If you check your account and it's lower than you thought, the illusion of safety breaks. But if you just don't look, you can maintain this kind of fantasy that everything's actually fine. It's the same reason people hide bills in a drawer instead of opening them, or put off doctor's appointments even when they know something might be wrong. We prefer the anxiety of uncertainty to the pain of certainty. I want you to think about a moment where you avoided checking something important. Maybe not your bank account, but something else. And then when you finally did it, it wasn't even close to as bad as you imagined. That's because our brains are really bad at predicting the future. We always think the worst case scenario is just around the corner, but most of the time it's not. Here's the third reason. We've built an entire economy that quietly encourages you to stop paying attention, so you keep paying things you've forgotten about. Think about every monthly subscription you have right now. Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Audible, a gym membership you haven't used in 6 months. Heck, maybe even a VPN or a meal kit service you thought was a great idea and used exactly once. Most of these subscriptions are designed to be set and forget. You sign up for a free trial, the price gradually goes up, and you never notice because, conveniently, you've stopped checking your account every week. The average person spends $230 a year on unused subscriptions, and that's just the average. If you want to test this, go into your banking app right now. No, I'll wait. Just scroll through your last few months of transactions. I can guarantee you there's a $5, $10, maybe even $40 charge from something you completely forgot about. And that's not a mistake. That's how the system works. They don't want you to look, because once you look, you cancel. The moment you stop ignoring your money, the easier it becomes to actually do something about it. So what do we do about it? How do we stop being afraid of a number on a screen? Here's what I'd suggest. Start small. Just open your banking app once a day and look at your balance. Not for 20 minutes, not to analyze every transaction, just open it and look. Set a 5-minute timer if you want. Just look at the number. No judgment, no shame, just look. Do that for a week, and I promise you, by the 7th day, it will feel a little less scary. By the 14th day, it'll be a habit. The second step is to separate the emotion from the action. When you look at your balance, you're going to feel something. That's fine. But don't let that feeling drive what you do next. If you see a number that makes you nervous, don't panic. Don't start moving money around or closing accounts. Just write it down. Say, my balance is this. Now what can I do? And here's the hardest part. Be honest with yourself. Not about how much you have, about how much you actually need. Most people avoid their money because they're scared of the gap between where they are and where they think they should be. The third step is to make it routine. Pick one day a week, maybe a Sunday afternoon, maybe a Friday morning, and sit down for 15 minutes, just to review. See where your money's actually going. Cancel that subscription you keep forgetting about, pay that bill, and then close the app and go enjoy your life. You don't have to become a financial analyst. You just have to stop pretending your money doesn't exist. When I finally checked my bank account after those 47 days, I realized something that changed how I think about money. The problem was never the number. The problem was that I was too scared to face it. And once I faced it, everything got easier. Not because I had more money, but because the guilt, the shame, the fear, it all evaporated. And I could finally start making better decisions. So let me know in the comments, what do you avoid checking in your life? And when you finally looked, was it as bad as you thought it would be? I want to hear your story. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And if you want more deep dives into money psychology like this one, you know where to find me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.